speakers for the class of 2016. Every year, the faculty and staff, whom you know we call the staffalty, of the Bay School chooses a student to speak at graduation. The student is chosen because the staffalty feels the student embodies the attitudes and habits of mind we seek to develop in our students. The speaker is also someone who reflects the four-year journey of intellectual, social, and emotional growth we hope all students experience at Bay. This year, there was a tie vote, and two members of the class will speak to us today. The first is Shiva Inalsingh. He attended Presidio Hill School and then followed his brother Nikhil to the Bay School. Shiva has been an integral part of both the varsity basketball team and the A team. Shiva is quite the people person. What you may not know is that he is also an avid bird watcher. Did you know that? Fascinated by how humans interact and how they impact their environments, Shiva hopes to study sociology and politics in college. Our second speaker will be Jay Scott. Jay came to Bay from Claire Lilienthal, an artist who does stained glass. Did you know that? And an activist who has done an internship at community radio at KPOO, and who helped to start the first Black student union at Bay. Jay hopes to pursue her passion for science by studying environmental law in college. Shiva.
Well, thank you all for coming. It's great to have you here. I hope you're all excited for the wonderful day ahead of us. At the Bay School, there's one word students know really well: feedback. We give and get feedback all the time at the Bay School. We give feedback because feedback helps us be the best people we can be. And when I was in 8th grade, people gave me a lot of feedback when I told them I was going to Bay, and not generally the good kind. I was supposed to go to Urban, or University, or one of the schools that have been around for thousands of years. I didn't want to go to one of those ancient schools because age doesn't always equal wisdom. Being young is what makes the Bay School so great. And sure, we have room to grow, change, and evolve. That's what feedback is meant to help with. And with all the feedback we've received, I find myself wanting to return the favor by giving Bay some constructive criticism. Feedback comes in many forms. There's the loving kind, the critical kind, and the joking kind. Most feedback that is joking, at least amongst my friends, is called roasting. Roast culture is extremely popular in my age group. In high school, we roast with no boundaries. Everyone's a target. It is kill or be killed. And you know why? Because we love each other. And although I can't roast the Bay School like I would with my friends in a car ride, like any good friend who has supported you, you get to make fun of them, especially when you're not going to see them for a while. When I first saw Bay, I was blinded. It was the most diverse white school I'd ever seen. Bay, as you can see by looking on stage, can work on the diversity of heritage in their student body. Not because it looks good for admissions photos, but because being such a young school requires a difference of perspectives and worldviews in order to grow. The school that was started 12 years ago by a group of families who traveled the country, visiting high schools all over, and taking pieces they liked from each of them to form the Bay School, should reflect the same diversity that those parents saw when they were traveling the country. Although the races and color of students' skin may not have been particularly diverse, the backgrounds and interests of all the students I met amazed me, as did their kindness. I had never seen a movie where a senior varsity basketball player comes up to a little freshman to help them find their room for their first ever high school humanities class. And yet, that's exactly what happened to me. And my experience as a freshman had me this year, as a senior varsity basketball player, wanting to help students integrate into the community as best I could, especially when it came to those on our basketball team. We have few, but very loyal fans for Bay School athletics. And I have to say, we could use more student excitement. At a school where the academics are top-notch, our athletic spirit should match it. We should be just as hyped about Oscar dunking, or Quazo hitting a home run, or Kendall swishing a 3, as we are in the classroom, making a point in a discussion or presenting a project that we're passionate about, because we support people's passions here, and 70% of us participate in athletics. And I know it's hard to always be proud and excited of our sports teams, but when you are, I think you'll find it really enthralling to be proud of the students you share a classroom with on the court and the field. You can even be proud of all 8 points we put up against Stewart Elementary. Bay School basketball was such an integral part of my time here, and it was where some of my most cherished memories of my high school career were made. I remember being able to play on the same basketball team as my brother's sophomore year before he went off to college, or stealing the ball at half court, JV year, and swishing a 3 to beat the buzzer. This year, our goal was to win a championship, but instead, we got trophies, participation trophies, like we always get at the Bay School. Everyone here is a winner. And although sometimes that can be a good thing, the idea of everyone being a winner often leads us to being coddled too much. Whether it's in our classes reading a tough passage, confused about the homework, or needing an extension, which is also known as a Bay deadline. Faculty, you can be harder on us. It's okay. We can take it. I would like to point out now that I'm not the only one who has feedback for Bay. Throughout my time on the admissions team, I hear lots of critiques and questions about our school. What comes up most is the fact that we meditate. And at this point in my life, I can honestly tell prospective parents how much I enjoy it. And it's really not just some prearranged spiel about how I've grown and changed and learned. I'll leave those for Hillary Clinton. Parents often think that when they come up to talk to me during admissions events that we're some freaky voodoo experimental school. And to that, I tell them yes. Those critiques are actually what I find best about the Bay School. We are freaky because we do things those ancient schools don't do. We are experimental because we are changing the way we educate the younger generation. And we are voodoo because there is some culturally unique magic in those Bay School classrooms. Meditation is the most unique aspect of Bay. And I hated meditation freshman year. I just didn't get it. Why am I closing my eyes in silence for 5 minutes at 8 in the morning when I'm already exhausted? It pretty much just became an extra 5 minutes of sleep in the morning. But as I got older, meditation became easily the most eye-opening experience of my time here. High school is such a busy time of our lives. We have athletics, we have classes, homework, social lives. We experience so many different emotions, whether it's stress, love, anxiety, anger, frustration, or pure bliss. And throughout all of this, I cannot emphasize enough how critical it is for students our age to take a time out, to close your eyes, be in the present moment, and just breathe. We rush through our lives so fast that making time for yourself and checking in with yourself is easily the best way to cope with the marathon that high school represents. Only at the Bay School would my entire math class turn out the lights mid-class and lay on our backs meditating for 20 minutes to help us figure out trigonometry. Another thing I learned at the Bay School are the 3 words that often strike fear into the hearts of the student body. Graded Socratic seminar. The next question everyone asks each other is, did you do the reading? And I have to say, the answer is probably, That doesn't happen very often, though. We don't fight here at the Bay School. No one goes out in the parking lot to settle disputes. While in past generations, conflicts would have occurred behind the gym, our fights take place in Socratic dialogue. When a Socratic discussion begins, all rules and logistics go out the window, and it is a legitimate brawl to get out your words before someone else says the same thing. People talk, and talk, and talk, and just when you think you have space to jump in, bang! Someone from across the room cuts in before you even know it hit you. It's these energizing intellectual brawls that make me so glad we meditate. Some of my most valuable moments I've had at the Bay School were during Socratic discussions, whether it was in ethics class discussing inequality in the prison systems, or me taking on the role of Confucius and debating other philosophers. The thoughts and ideas and values that people at the Bay School share with each other is really quite impressive. And I have learned so much from my peers throughout these discussions in the classroom. That is, those peers that did do the reading. But the key to Socratic seminars is not just to do the reading. What we learn at a very young age at the Bay School is that we have to annotate. You have to annotate all of your work. I'm not even joking. Literally everything at the Bay School has to be annotated. Reading a book? Annotated. Philosophical text? Annotated. Bibliography? Annotated bibliography. The speech I'm reading off of right now? It's annotated. If I were to annotate my time at the Bay School, my annotation would be a big box with some stars and probably a few question marks around all of you sitting on stage, my class. You all, every single one of you, are truly remarkable people. And I'm not just saying that to sound heartfelt. I really mean it. Whether you're going to play Division I basketball, or building a robot that can be a home assistant, making a film that will be the next blockbuster, helping save the environment from climate change, which is a real thing, guys, come on, it's 2016. Or starting a business that will be the next Facebook, Twitter, or Uber. All of you sitting up here right now are going on to such impressive things and have such bright futures. And I'm so grateful that I was able to meet every single one of you. The Bay School has given us the opportunity to pursue our passions, whatever they may be. After knowing all of you for so long, like the Bay School, it's time for me to give you all some feedback before we go off to college. And you can't interrupt me this time because it's not a Socratic discussion. This one applies to a lot of you, but I'm sure some of you will probably think of some people specifically. Next year, don't expect farm-to-table organic, free-range, grass-fed meals every day. Just don't. You'll stand out and sound weird. Secondly, acknowledge the bubble we live in. I know it's said all the time here, and I'm sure you all imagine a physical bubble over your heads at all times. But even so, that will not make it any less shocking going out into the real world and hearing different opinions and worldviews. Lastly, cherish your weirdness. Bay is weird. The world is weird. We need weirdness in the world, because as all of you hopefully know, our generation has some pretty difficult challenges to face, and we're going to need weird ideas to solve them. Just make sure they're not so weird, though, like building a wall or banning an entire religion from our country. Those are too weird. Lastly, I need to thank people. It obviously would not have been possible for me to get here on my own. Mom, Dad, thank you for making all the sacrifices you do to allow your 3 children to be the best people they can be. I know you both know I could write an entire second speech thanking you for all that you have done for Nick, Taj, and I. And perhaps even more important, thank you for paying for all my late-night Uber rides. Thank you to the incredible faculty and staff here at the Bay School that have cultivated my learning and helped me achieve so much. 4 years has gone by so fast. Shiva out.